Roz, you still with us, right?
I am.
You got quite a story to beat there, Roz.
No beat, no competition. It's
No,
just
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
it's the power. It's the power of this plant. How it can save lives in so many different ways. And imagine there's so many different stories that are out there of people that have been able to tap into this plant and look at it from a wellness perspective. And so, yeah, my story is quite different, but nevertheless, probably inspiring and just kind of like jaw dropping, as I, as I've been going through my own, uh, uh, I wouldn't say tragedy, but my own, dark hour of healing.
Let's hear about it, Roz.
Yes.
Let's crack that case wide open.
Absolutely. So I'll start with. So you asked Nicole the question, how did you get introduced to cannabis? And so I'll tell you this: that I started this organization, and when I started, I had never consumed before, and this is in 2016. So when growing up and in high school and college and everything else, as my friends were partaking, and they would go and smoke or what have you, and have their own little sesh, I was the only one out of all of my friends who never consumed. And it's because I grew up in a small little town that really taught me. My parents or grandparents were like, if you smoke weed, if you do anything like that, you're going to jail. Like all of those stigmas around the plant, around, a weed head is bad, and if you consume this, and you don't want to be a druggie, and this will cause you to, wig out. All that stuff was taught to me as I was growing up, right? So the total opposite from Nicole, who had a father who believed in the power of this plant. And so people go, well, then why did you start M4MM? Well, I live in Florida. Florida is a very diverse state, but also it can be very conservative. And when I saw this state was moving really fast towards legalization on the medical side, all of my past experience in working in corporate America had been about working in the healthcare industry and the pharma industry. And I've written some white papers focused on healthcare disparity, and specifically healthcare disparity in communities of color.
Okay.
And so for me, it was
Roz, quick question though. You're writing white papers. What's your background? You have a science background?
No, I do have a degree in chemistry, but my background was all within the pharma industry.
Got
and
it.
Also, I spent 9 years with Bristol Myers Squibb.
Oh, wow.
I spent another 8 years in working in end of life care with hospice.
Okay.
Where I was a regional manager. So I worked on. I actually co-wrote a paper that talked about the use of the ER for primary care. Where individuals would utilize the ER as a point of primary care versus utilizing it for emergency. And we identified groups which were marginalized communities. We call them healthcare deserts. And they really consisted of communities of color who would utilize the ER as a primary care for healthcare. And so again, if you were to do a map and you create this map with an overlay of all the hot zones where people were getting arrested or being targeted for cannabis use, and then you put another map on top that shows your healthcare deserts and lack of access to healthcare, you would see a lot of those different hot zone areas and healthcare deserts would all measure up in the same. They were the same communities. They were the same zip codes. And so for me, when you take my past experience along with the fact that I saw legalization happening really quickly, and then I lost my mom to breast cancer in 2005. And so I did research about cannabis and working with cancer patients. And also my son has sickle cell anemia. And so for those who don't know, sickle cell is a very painful genetic disease that's prevalent in African-American individuals. Children are born with it. It is not something that there's no cure for it. And it can be very debilitating and devastating for individuals as they grow older in life.
Right.
And so my son was 17 at the time, and I just felt like if I don't know, have you ever you felt called to do something? You didn't know exactly why, but it just felt like it was the right thing to do.
Yes.
So that is how I felt. And I I pushed all chips in, meaning I didn't have a plan. I spent about 2 years prior consulting with a nonprofit organization, the Chamber of Commerce, helping them grow, overseeing their board management and things of that nature. So I knew how to run a nonprofit from that experience. And then I was just like, one day I said, you know what? I'm going to create a nonprofit organization for the medical the medical marijuana industry,
Right.
because Florida is about to come on fast. And so I did that, and that's how that was my entry point. And still after this time, starting M4MM, I still hadn't consumed. I was out there fighting the fight,
Wow, you're fighting
advocating,
it. Okay.
and never touched the plant. And
Gosh.
and I would say this, that eventually I did consume, but it was like like a kind of in an adult use type of situation, like trying for the first time. But it wasn't until this past summer I was involved in a car collision, and long story short, I ended up, I was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury and concussion syndrome and whiplash, and literally I had to, like, it was bad. Nicole was gracious enough. Everyone knew.
How did you guys meet, though? Real quick, how did you guys connect?
So I saw her in a picture with my cousin. Shout out to Tiara in DC, out of DC, and she had a podcast at the time. And this was in 2017. This is right after I got diagnosed. And I called up her and I was like, you know this lady? I heard she started an organization. I want to get a part of it.
Oh,
and,
wow. Okay.
Got her contact
sounds
information.
Sounds like Nicole. That sounds like what I know of you. That sounds like you. Okay.
Got her information, called her, and our first phone call, it felt like family. That's my
version. And that
version.
was back in 2017 that y'all came together. Okay, got
and
it.
she asked me to launch the chapter 6 months before we ever met in person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Roz, please continue. Yes.
Yeah. So mind you, Nicole has always been the person from she's a caregiver in her spirit. She's an educator. She's someone like I can always count on when it comes to kind of like, if I have a question about something, especially when it involves the plant and understanding, you can call Nicole. And if she doesn't have the answer, she'll find the answer out for you. And so the team knew that after the accident, I thought I was okay, but unfortunately, I ended up passing out about 4 times within a span of about a week. And the third time that I passed out, I was in the hospital for 4 days, and that's where all the diagnosis came in. And they basically I was told that you have this, all this has happened because of the accident. And literally, I was just nauseated. I was dizzy all the time. I was, if you can imagine, just the football player that has the concussion that still is like you just can't even get your bearings. And it was so bad I couldn't I could barely walk. I was light sensitive. I was noise sensitive. I couldn't get out the bed.
Couldn't look at her
it
screen.
Was rough.
Wow.
It was just so rough. And so I called Nicole. She was like, "I'm coming to Florida." And I said, "Come on." And Nicole was my lifesaver. She brought me back to life, to be honest with you.
Wow.
It was so bad when she got here. She literally first she went down to my kitchen and in my pantry and in the kitchen, and everything that
She
was
cleaned out them Doritos, didn't she?
Everything in a can.
She's like, no cans.
No.
Wow.
None of that. Everything was whole, fresh food.
Yeah, I wanted some soup, and I was like, okay, some canned soup. She's like, no, we're not.
Ain't no Campbell's around here. Ain't no Campbell's.
No, ma'am.
God rest Campbell's. Oh, I love it though. Wait, Nicole, are you plant-based now?
I am.
Okay,
yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm plant-based. And I tried to convert her. It didn't work. But we got her to eat, whole rotisserie chicken versus anything out of a can.
Okay. All right.
I went to the market and made sure that I got all fresh vegetables.
This
made
makes
soup
sense.
from scratch.
Just out of curiosity, what were some of the things you were most surprised that you saw in Roz's closet? Since we're talking about her little snack habits. It was like a box of Oreos. Come on, what do we got to dirt on Roz?
Her grown kids had just left the house.
So
she had
Roz.
snacks like goldfish, and not grown kids, her babies, because she just became an empty nester. So that was another reason that she wanted me to come.
I know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was at the house by herself. And another thing, but it wasn't that bad.
I gotcha.
It just was.
We're just teasing you, Roz.
She's always on the go.
Okay.
So of course she had food in her house.
Were
for
there lean
convenience.
cuisines in the freezer?
And I didn't see any of those.
Okay, good.
No lean cuisine, those other stuff like pizza rolls, like just stuff that
Does it
fast on the
Tostitos?
go.
Pizza rolls? Tostitos?
No.
What is it called? Dude,
Yeah.
those are fire.
No.
Stop. They're terrible. What's in there? What is what is in a pizza roll?
Exactly.
Squishy stuff.
I know, right?
Oh my
I know,
God. Hey, but that squishy stuff tastes good, Roz. Okay. Roz, hey, I'm putting you and me gonna have some pizza rolls at one point. Okay.
It was bad. It was bad, but
she cleaned it out. That was step one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what she introduced that was so powerful, and this is where the crux of the story and where the connection is, and understanding this plant is she introduced me to. I already knew about CBD, but the use of CBD to help treat my traumatic brain injury.
Not THC, just CBD.
I mean, she was using a full spectrum product, but definitely more high. It was a 1,500 milligram CBD full spectrum. Tincture.
Okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't just, sometimes we use it when we like, I feel a little anxious, let me use it. And then basically what Nicole wanted me to realize is that I had to build up those receptors in my brain.
Yes.
All of that, all those nerve endings were all damaged. Like I didn't hit something, but my brain got, was basically sloshed around in the accident.
Wow.
And so all those nerve endings were just all tender and they were open. I had pain. I got hit from behind on the left side. So my left shoulder all the way to my neck area up behind my ear, all of that was just painful. And it wasn't something that I could take like an ibuprofen. Like it
didn't respond to that.
And so it didn't respond to that. So not only did she do that, but she also provided some flour and the use of the Da Vinci vaporizer.
What's the Da Vinci vaporizer?
So it's a digital vaporizer. It allows you to vaporize dry flour.
Okay.
And it allows you to control the temperature to the degree.
So you can manage the terpenes.
That's right. Manage the terpenes, manage the cannabinoids.
Okay.
You get more. You can retain more by vaporizing that dry flour at a lower temperature.
Oh,
and
I love
so that was incorporated during that time that I was there with her for the 17 days that we spent together, more as an emergency.
Okay.
She wasn't using that every day like she was the CBD. Like CBD was like every 4 hours.
Okay, sure.
Dosing.
Yeah.
Making sure it's in her system.
Wow.
And she's getting as much as she can. And within 72 hours, it was a drastic difference.
No way.
Yeah,
Really, Roz?
72 hours.
It was major.
Yeah.
I was still really rough around the edges, but it was
a drastic difference.
It was a drastic difference. And then I'm thinking I'm getting better. And then, Nicole is a drill sergeant. Let me just tell you, if anyone out there ever needs someone to be a caregiver, to take care for you, to get you right,
good to know.
Nicole's a drill sergeant, Gia, because she would come in and she would go, okay, now we have to practice your mantras. And she really did. The reason why I practice mantras now and meditation is because of Nicole. Wow. And she would come in and she would go, okay, let's do it. I'm strong. I'm healed. And I would just be like, no, I don't want to do it now. And she would not leave me alone until we practice these mantras.
She said, I'm going to call your mama. Leave me alone, Nicole. I'm going to call you. Make sure I have your mom's number before you leave here. So in case I need to call her and tell on you.
The power of the mind, though. Honestly, Nicole.
It was the power of the mind.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine, I was seeing a craniosacral therapist who also talked about talking to my brain. And he was like, Roz, in order to heal, you have to, when you feel that your body trying to succumb to you, it's called a syncope where you pass out. He says you have to talk to your brain. You have to tell it no. You have to practice mantras. You have to meditation. All these different things that I had never experienced or practiced before. So with the combination of the mantras, the meditation, the things that you would find in the Buddhism religion that is a core to that religion, all that stuff I was doing and didn't even realize how it was helping me. Wow. And then if you combine the cannabis that I was ingesting with the CBD, it just literally brought me back to life. And
I'm just over here wowing, Roz, because this is a traumatic brain injury that is now being treated with the sacred plant.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you were able to reduce some of the medications.
Well, so I stopped. So they had me on meclizine and they had me on some other different stuff. And basically, we didn't take that. We just stopped taking the
You
I would
just
take the
stopped?
meclizine every now and then
Okay.
because it did help with the nausea.
Sure.
Because when you do have that traumatic brain injury, you feel very disoriented. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was even worse than vertigo. So anyone that has vertigo, they will be able to kind of understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But it was kind of worse than that because
Mm.
it was just bad. And then where the injury was in my brain, it also controls my emotions. So I was weepy all the
Oh
time.
my
I was like
goodness. I
very,
want to give you a
I
big
was,
hug, Roz. I really
yeah,
do.
I know it
Oh
was
my
rough. I was
gosh.
very emotional.
Okay.
I lost my mom when she was 54, so I was thinking about my own mortality,
Of
and that's
course.
really how
Absolutely. Ugh.
out of the darkness of laying in my bed sometimes at night, the only thing I could do to help me sleep was being able. I would have my diffuser with lavender, and I would
Mm.
put on rain sounds, and that would help me
Mm.
go to sleep at
Mm-hmm.
night.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I would lay in bed, and I'm like, Lord, please how do I heal? Like I want to, because I
Right.
couldn't think. I couldn't even put words together. I couldn't
Wow.
even process.
It was
It
bad.
was so bad,
Oh.
and just over time, I got better. And then the thought, like this is what happened. I was like, if something happens to me, and I leave my children behind, God forbid, I don't have anything to show for, the work I'm doing in cannabis on the advocacy side. I do, but I
Okay.
have nothing of a legacy to leave to my
Mm.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I came up with the concept of
Mm.
Black Buddha Cannabis. It was my through my healing and through that journey, I knew that I wanted to create something that people in general, and really specifically
Sure.
women, targeting from the age of 25 to 60, that we have our own wellness journey and we want to feel better, and we want to just, and we want to be in one with ourselves. That this brand was about enlightenment and not getting high. It was about feeling better and living our best life. And
Yeah.
that's how I came up with Black Buddha Cannabis. And
I want to thank you and honor your journey. That is not easy. And Nicole, how's to you for being such an amazing caregiver and
Thank
kind of
you.
like resuscitating Roz back to life through the use of this
she
beautiful
did.
plant.
Thank you.
So we have just really just a few minutes left on this episode. Our ladies, Roz and Nicole, will be returning in honor of Black History Month and in honor of both of your journeys to cannabis and in honor of your brands and in honor of your organization. We're going to have
Great.
our second episode. So for the listeners, I don't know, Nicole or Roz, you want to just give us the highlight? Maybe one take the highlight on Black Buddha Cannabis and one take the highlight on M4MM. M4MM. So
Yeah.
Nicole, which one do you want to take?
I'll do M4MM. I'll
Perfect.
let Roz
Okay.
take away with
Just
Black
the
Buddha
highlights.
Cannabis.
Yep.
Yes, M4MM celebrating our 5th year anniversary, going on our 6th year this
Okay.
May. Really excited about what we're going to be doing. Expungement clinics, our Project Clean Slate program.
Let's back up 1 second.
Oh,
What
okay.
does M4MM
I
stand?
apologize. Yeah, sure.
That's okay. That's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Minorities for Medical Marijuana.
Okay.
And you can find us at the
I was
number
gonna ask,
4,
okay.
mmunited.org.
One more time.
the number 4, mmunited.org. That's
Okay.
our website.
Okay,
You'll
perfect.
find all the information you want to find there. You can also follow us on our social media platforms there as well. And one of the programs that we're really proud of, a few, but Project Clean Slate, which is our expungement clinic program, and also our Health is Wellness program, which is a monthly online series that I host the 4th Saturday of every month.
Okay.
And so that'll be this Saturday or the Saturday, the 26th, the last Saturday in the month of February at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay. And that's a live recording.
It is.
And
It's
people
gonna
can
be
catch
live.
replays?
Yes, on our Facebook page. It'll
Okay.
be a live video streamed live on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our
Okay.
LinkedIn. All
Excellent.
at
So
M4MM United.
when you come back, you're going to tell us more about all of that, yes?
I sure will. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Fantastic. Roz, can you tell us a bit about Black Buddha Cannabis?
I sure can. So
Aside
Black
from
Buddha
like
Cannabis
the fact that I need a hoodie and sweatshirt or hoodie and t-shirt
I know,
immediately.
right? Well, we got
We
you
got
covered
it.
for you. But
I'm loving it.
long story short, we're an environmentally conscious, social equity, social impact driven business, proudly owned by a Black woman who believes in the power of this plant. But this product is going to be for everyone. It's about getting enlightened and not getting high. We want you to feel better. It's a lifestyle wellness brand that's creating products that are really about being in a better space physically, feeling better, being able to really embrace this plant from its medicinal use. And so we're super excited. about the different states that we are slated to come to.
Mm-hmm.
And in our next segment, I would love to talk about the different products that we're going to have coming out and what our future is looking like for Black Buddha Cannabis. But we are at blackbuddhacannabis.co. So that's Black, and Buddha is Buddha cannabis.co.
Fantastic. Okay, I think we're going to wrap for this. This has been so expansive. You guys really have had an epic journey into cannabis, and this plant has brought us together, and I'm really grateful for that.
Very.
So we look forward for this listening to part 2, where we're going to go deeper into the M4MM experience, as well as Black Buddha Cannabis, the product, the brand, what you guys are up to, the ethos of both of these organizations and how they come together for us.
Yes.
So for those of you listening, thank you. Please download us on Spotify and all the social platforms. Find us on Instagram. I'm Gia.Kubik. And Roz, for people who want to follow you, where would they find you personally?
Yeah, if you find me personally, actually I'm at Canna Talk with Roz, Canna, CANNA, Talk with Roz, ROZ.
Got it.
And that's on Facebook as well as on Instagram.
Okay.
Roz McCarthy on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay, and Nicole?
And Nicole Buffong. You can find me at purpleplantmagic.com.
There you go.
And Purple Plant Magic on Instagram. And
Fantastic.
Purple Plant Magic on Twitter.
Wonderful. Well, friends, as I always like to say, welcome to the future of cannabis. My name is Gia. I'll be your tour guide.